Zup y'all, it's John Master Lee here, and today I'm mourning one of the all-time great creators. Stan Lee has passed away. Stan Lee is arguably the heart and soul of what Marvel is today. He had such a profound impact on everything. So much of my creative inspiration came down to Stan. I got into Marvel Comics when I was about a early teenager. My best friend at the time, who also has passed away young, would send me comic books. And it would just be random comic books from the X-Men to Spider-Man. Books I would just pour over them, reading them again and again and again. And in many ways, that's how I got into drawing. My best friend Victor and I would end up creating our own comic books based off of our friends and our teachers, right? We would create parodies of ourselves. And then we try to sell it to our classmates. More like we try to force them to buy it because they were in it. You could just tell like how profound Stan Lee had an impact on my life. Now, Stan was pivotal to the creation of such popular comic books as Spider-Man, the X-Men, Fantastic Four, Iron Man, Hulk, Thor. And what I love about Stan is every time you meet him, and whether you see him on TV or whether you see him in the cameos of all the Marvel movies, he has this charming charisma that is energetic, always optimistic. He loved interfacing with the fans. I mean, it was because of that I got a chance to meet with him myself. This was back when I used to work in the video game industry, and I had a chance to work on a number of big Marvel properties. And because of that, I got a chance to meet with Stan and shake his hand, get a signature, and schmooze it all up. Hey, after all, we're both Lees here, right? He's created consistent hit after hit after hit. And he had a particular methodology that he called the Marvel Way, which I thought was quite brilliant. What he would do is rather than dictate the specifics of what he wanted, he would create these sort of loose ideas and scripts and then hand them over to the artists and the other creators to fill in the gaps. And sometimes he would get things back where he was even surprised to see things that he didn't expect. New characters that were added to the story, new elements, new visuals. And it was really through that collaboration that was able to create so many things that we know today. Now, for all you content creators out there, there's so much you could take away from what Stan has contributed to the world. At the same time, he is truly a cautionary tale. Early on, Marvel never really did much to give credit to its creators. And looking back, it's never really clear whether or not Stan was a contributor to that or if he was a victim of that. You see, while Stan may have co-created a lot of these characters, the reality is those characters were no longer his. And as an artist, as a creator, if you don't have a stake, some stake in the things that you create, you are always potentially missing out on the big opportunity. As you know today, comic books are not where it's at. It's movies, and it's really through Marvel movies that has completely reinvigorated Marvel. In fact, I remember in high school, Marvel was going through bankruptcy. That's right, Marvel was doing so bad that they had to declare bankruptcy, and that's why some of its properties are no longer properties that they own, especially when it comes to movie rights. That's why Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four currently belong to Sony. That's why there's no full-featured Hulk movie, because the rights to the Hulk are owned by Universal, another studio. Now, Marvel's trying to wrangle all these characters back together again, but the reality is that's how bad it got. But when the turnaround happened and the movies started to take off, and Marvel became a huge powerhouse in the entertainment space, that's when it was acquired for $4 billion. For someone like Stan Lee, who clearly is a big part of Marvel even to this day, you know how much he got from that? It wasn't even 10%. It wasn't even 1%. It was 0.2%. And he didn't even get that from the sale. He had to sue Marvel for that piece. He created all these things, and because he didn't owe the rights to it, he always had to be a working individual. And that's why even to the age of 95, he was active on the promotional circuit. He would sign things for you for $100, whether it's Comic-Con or at E3, and there was no doubt that he loved it. But he's always been working. And it really wasn't until much later in his life, 50 years later, that he finally got a big enough payout that he lived comfortably. Despite the ups and downs that he's been through, his contributions to the world will no doubt shape many more creators to come. And there's one thing to take away from what Stan has done, and that is be unwavering in your belief that you are here to entertain. Stan Lee, John Master Lee, peace out.
Fine, right? The bartenders are all like, yeah, crazy stupid.